guys, today I want to start a new series of painting birds. At first I focused on birds which are more common here in Finland because I live here, and I wanted to get to know the different types of birds. My first bird is called keltasirkku in Finnish. It's called yellowhammer in English, and goldhammer in German. Okay, let's get started. I have here burnt sienna, rose sienna, crimson red, Prussian blue, turquoise blue, lemon yellow, and the last one is viridian green. Now I mixed the two siennas, a small pre-mix so the colors are ready. I wet the paper, carefully. I add some lemon yellow at the top of the bird's head. I speed up the process a little bit. Now I paint the chest of the bird. I'm the same color, and also the chest of the bird is wetted. I try to wet the paper in stages so I don't need to hurry up. A little bit more burnt sienna underneath the wings, and more yellow at the belly of the little bird. And then I add more shadows with the burnt sienna. Now I moved to the tail of the bird. It's largely just burnt sienna and some rose sienna, I believe. Now I moved to do the eyes. I add some turquoise blue, or a mix of turquoise blue and Prussian blue. I take off a little bit of the color so it kind of gives a reflection. And then I moved to the beak of the bird. It's basically the same color of Prussian blue. Here I'm actually really careful because it's a smaller painting, and to spread the color I add a little bit water underneath. I wetted the area of the back wings, and I mixed a little bit of stronger color of raw sienna and Russian blue, make it much more darker. Of course I add a little bit of brownish color there as well. Okay, here I have already started to paint the branches where the bird is sitting. Unfortunately, I forgot to move the camera. So basically, I used Prussian blue and then Prussian blue mixed with some lemon yellow to create some green. And yes, I left the thorns out at this point. And I did not wet the paper. And I continue with the top branches, which is basically a little bit of darker brown, still mixed out of Prussian blue and then burnt umber and a little bit of the green which I used previously. I did wet the branches to create a little bit of a distant feeling, and then I paint the leaves. The light green is created out of lemon yellow and a little bit of a blue color, and to get, while it's still wet, I add some Prussian blue at the sides. Give some more shadows. Now I wetted the head of the back of the bird's head to add a little bit more structure. So a little bit of darker brown, basically the same colors of yellow and burnt sienna and raw sienna, crimson red a little bit. I use a little bit of thinner brush for the head and I spread it with the thicker brush. Then I focus more on the eye, or around the eye, and add more and more a darker brown to it. While I'm adding the details to the head, I can tell you a little bit about the yellowhammer. In the area where I live, they are actually really common, and you notice them more during the winter, especially around the feeding places. So I have a small one for them and for blue-tits. They're only like 16 centimeters and have bright yellow heads. Mostly they move in flocks, and I have noticed that they live in different groups, which is really necessary because we have different other predator birds as well, such as Eurasian pygmy owl and buzzards. Now I have added some more details to the wings. A little bit, it's a brown mixed of crimson red, Prussian blue and yellow. And loads of blue paint to make it look darker. And add some rough edges. In this case I'm using also a little bit more wet to wet so that the paint spreads nicely and doesn't have too much of rough edges. Now I add a little bit more of the light brown. Add a little bit more of darker colors. Also wet to wet. Adding some rough edges, so not everything has been wetted on the paper. I accelerate a little bit the process here. Now I add a little bit of color to the feet. Mostly it's a darker Prussian blue. It's quite funny, you don't see those little birds much during the summertime. But you can hear them occasionally, they really fit into the environment. Now I go and continue with the background of the painting, so I add more of like dark green mixed with the Prussian blue and yellow, and with adding some burnt sienna. I wetted the paper so it looks like it's the branches are a little bit more in the distance. Carefully add a little bit of more darker areas and some lighter green. Now I continue underneath the bird and work on the thorns. So mostly it's a very strong Prussian blue that I have it there. I did not wet the area, just add some strong colors and then I spread it with a little bit of water. And here I add a little bit more shadows or darker areas. Now continue with my birdie and add some more burnt sienna to the belly. So I slowly build up the colors and the form or the shape so it doesn't look too flat. It's good to remember to leave a little bit untouched area or have a mixture of wet to wet and dry areas, so it gives it creates an interesting structure. I kind of do the same with the top of the wings or the back of the bird, adding more burnt sienna and then a bit darker brown. And then I refresh again the painted area, the painted feather. Adding some more details here and there. A little bit more details underneath the head of the bird and at the top to pronounce the feathers a little bit better, or the smaller ones. And then more hard edges to the lower feathers of the wings. Now I add a little bit more burnt sienna to the tail of the bird and to the really lower parts of the wing, feathers of the wings. I add more Prussian blue. Now I work a little bit more on the eye. I mix Prussian blue with a little bit of Payne's grey, but I don't completely cover it over. I don't completely cover it. And now I add a little bit more of the same paint onto the beak of the bird. Now I add more turquoise blue underneath the bigger wings. So basically on the belly side. To give it a little bit more interesting. And some darker areas with Prussian blue. Continue working with the feet of the bird. And I darken the tail of the bird. More crimson red at the back of the bird. And some light layers underneath the head of the bird, underneath the head. Some more light layers underneath. More brownish areas to emphasize the smaller feathers. Now I add some brown areas to emphasize the small feathers to the side. I actually didn't mention crimson red that much, but I do use it to mix the brown. So the light browns and the dark browns are a mixture of crimson red, yellow, and one of the blue colors. It varies the intensity, whatever I need. Oh, it looks better rather than using already brown. Now I add a little bit more structure to the beak of the bird. Basically the same colors as I have used before, and a little bit stronger on Payne's Grey. Now I add a little bit more color to the eye. Which is basically a little bit the darker Payne's Grey and Prussian blue. I don't cover it completely, so a little bit of reflection is left. Then more structure, more color to the belly. Just light layer. And I spread the color then with the clean water. more details. More reddish color to the wings or underneath the, not more reddish color underneath the smaller. Now we add a little bit more structure to the head of the bird. So a really light layer of light brown. Now I added a little bit more of darker brown to underneath the thorns and here at the top. Add a little bit more colored. I mixed the wet and wet, and adding some thorns so it doesn't look that boring. Here I decided, oh, the bird is ready. But I thought that the background looks empty, so I decided to add a little bit more colors, something more to it. Especially here I add more bluish color because I want to emphasize the head of the bird. And then emphasize a little bit the leaves of the plant. And then got a bit more burnt sienna. So it fits a little bit with the bird.